Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, welcome to New Life Live. Steve Arterburn here. Really glad that you're joining us today. And we're going to do two programs today. If you are, and you could watch both of them on Facebook Live. The first one, we have a special guest. And the second one, we have the returning Dr. Dave Stoop. And so if you want to be part of that, you could watch us as we tape that program on Facebook Live. But right now, one of my favorite people, Dr. John Townsend, and one of my other favorite people, Dr. Jill Hubbard. Hi, guys.
Hey,
welcome.
Steve.
Hey, Steve. Glad to be here.
Good to be with you, John. What have you been up to recently? Anything going on with the John Townsend, the Dr. Townsend, or just the plain old Townsend Institute?
Yeah.
Nothing plain about it.
We had a bunch of students sign up for this time, and so I went to the studio yesterday, and I made a bunch of videos on the concept of counseling and integrating that with the Scripture, and you know what that means, how the Bible and counseling go well together, hand in hand.
Now, I've told people that I think the best book that you could get on integration and counseling and the Bible is How People Grow. Do you think there's a better book, a different book than that?
Of yours.
How about a different book than, not necessarily better, but another book that you think really does that well?
I really liked a book by Bruce Naramore and John Carter called The Integration of Psychology and Theology. It was one that I studied because they were my professors.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the first book out to kind of start taking a serious look at how those go together. That's a very, very good book.
Okay, very good. Well, How People Grow, and then tell us about Growth Has No Boundaries. Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, the idea is that, we're limited in, we're only going to be on the earth, a few years, but in terms of what we can really accomplish in our mental health, our emotional health, our relationships, our careers, there's not a lot of boundaries or limitations on that because God is a God of resource. He wants to bring people around us and wisdom and information. Basically, the whole idea is that if you go to Matthew 5, Jesus says, "Blessed are you who hunger and thirst for righteousness, you'll be filled." People that are hungry and willing to do the work, there's not a lot of things you can't accomplish.
Very, very good. All right. And so if somebody wants to find out about how to get a bachelor's, master's, PhD, just want to be part of what you're doing because they love the way, just the foundation of all the stuff you've done and the way it does integrate Scripture into all of it, what would they need to do?
Google Townsend Institute. It's
Townsend
all
Institute.
simple there, and we make it really easy for somebody to get their questions answered.
All right. That's how you do it. All right. Well, we've got some great things coming up. John is one of the folks that's participating with us in Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible. John, we're really looking forward to that December the 5th, and I think it's just going to be a great success. And, just getting to be with you and be part of that, I always love what you do. You're a great, great contributor to what we do here. And I think you're going to talk about some hard situations where it's tough to apply those boundaries.
Right. But there's answers. We'll provide people with practical solutions.
Okay. 1-800-229-3000. That is the phone number if anybody wants to join us right here. 1-800-229-3000. And we will take a break right now. Come back with your phone calls. And really glad that you're with us here today on New Life Live. We'll be back right after this. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and so often we hear people saying, I know I need something, but I don't know what it is. Well, we've put together the perfect experience for you. It's called Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible. You're going to hear Dr. Daniel Amen, Dr. Henry Cloud, Dr. John Townsend, Sheila Walsh, and myself.
In this online workshop, you'll participate in general sessions, then break out into process groups to connect and share with others. You'll create a plan for when you go back to your daily life, and it'll all be facilitated by a New Life Network counselor. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Please consider joining us December the 5th for Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible. It could change everything because I think it might be the help you've been looking for.
Register today to begin experiencing life in a new way. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here, Dr. John Townsend, and Dr. Jill Hubbard in the studio today. So before we go to calls, people, I just realized when you hear integration of Scripture and counseling, some people, what is that, Maybe you could give us an example, John. I know you could. I'm not saying maybe you could do it. I know you can do it, and so I'm asking you to do it.
Because,
an example of it.
Historically, a lot of Christians have been afraid of psychology for fear that it was humanistic, secular, and contradicted the Bible. And I love how you, over the years, have shown us differently than that it actually goes well together.
Yeah, guys, it all starts with one premise, and that is that all growth is spiritual growth. That God created not only how we are to be saved and know that we have a relationship with Christ, but also all principles of growth He created. He created the idea of, for example, of attachment. If you go to John 14 through 17, Jesus says, abide with me and with each other. He's talking about relationship and attachment. God came up with the whole concept of attachment. If you come up with if you find out about why people don't sometimes get depressed because they don't have good boundaries, because they don't have a voice, what does it say? It says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. So every principle that's in psychology has been already addressed in the Scripture. And I'm not truly what you would call an integrationist, because that's like saying these are two equivalent disciplines. It's like saying that math. I'm going to integrate math and philosophy. Well, I would do that because that they're two equivalent. They're sisters, right? They're equal. They have the same priority. But I don't believe that about the Bible and psychology. I love psychology and I study it and I love the research and the techniques. But psychology must bend its knee to the queen of the sciences, which is theology of the Bible. It's got to bend its knee to the queen. And so I use the Bible when I'm writing or thinking.
Or the king. Bend its knee to
Either
the
way.
king.
Okay,
either way.
Okay.
King Jesus.
There you go.
Sorry.
Where did my head just go? Okay.
Sorry.
And so I tell people when I'm writing, when they want to do it too, use the Bible as the filter. So you get some concept about, I don't know, trauma or about depression or about relationships, and it comes out with something that makes sense to the Bible, then you use it. For example, if you've got something that has to do with people's self-image, I love all the self-image stuff, but if somebody says, who wrote a theory about it, as we know, all people are good all the time, we have a good nature. Okay, well, that doesn't make it to the grid because we've got this yucky, sinful nature. But I use the other stuff. So as the Bible is the filter with really good research, and especially with what we're learning about neuroscience and all the ways that God created the brain to know when we're in trouble, fight or flight amygdala, or when we can think rationally, all that stuff's in the Bible. That's how I start writing and thinking and teaching.
Okay, so John, I tell people that the field of archaeology, they haven't uncovered anything where you'd go, oh, well, I guess the Bible isn't true then, because look at there, that goes totally against it. So there's nothing like that that's ever happened in archaeology, or we'd really be wondering, wow, what's going on.
Yeah, like go to the Museum of the Bible, where some of the greatest
great.
old things. I've been there a
Right.
couple times, and some of
So-
the greatest things in the world come from those old tablets and stuff.
Yeah. So I also say this, and I want to see if it's true. No research in the area of psychology. We shouldn't be afraid of research because no research has ever caused us to question any of the truth that is in Scripture. Is that
Yeah, no
valid statement?
well done research. There's cookie
Yeah.
research, by knuckleheads, but no well done research has ever said anything negative about the Bible.
Yeah. Because the Bible is true. We can trust it. And the other thing is, just because someone has some insight in one area, what you said was they might be wrong in some other areas. But just because they have some insight in an area, but they're really messed up in other areas, it doesn't mean that in the other areas we shouldn't look at what was there. It would, it'd be like a scientist messes up their research on 4 projects, but then they make a great discovery on the 5th. Well, we really ought to look at what that great discovery is and not say, well, you know what, they've messed up that other stuff.
Yeah, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's a lot of good stuff out there.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
well, and one of the things you've always talked about over the years that I always love, John, is the idea of loving your neighbor as yourself. And if you truly did that, would your neighbor really feel loved? I love that little piece of wisdom.
yeah.
Stuff
I do
like that,
too.
they're just all over the place when you see them. I like one of my favorite passages is Proverbs chapter 20 verse 5, which is deeply counseling related. It says that a person's heart are deep waters, and a person of understanding draws them out. Well, goodness gracious, what is counseling? You got these deep waters inside you of pain and hurt and brokenness and bad memories and abuse, and you don't have access to them because you've repressed them, or because they make you feel bad, or you don't want to be upset, you don't want to be overwhelmed. So it says the God's solution is a person of understanding draws them out. Now, you go to some spiritual places that are like not really into psychology. They'll say, well, if you're hurting inside, just pray. Just pray. Just bring it to the Lord. Don't talk to people. Just bring it to the Lord. But the Bible said, yeah, you talk to God, but also have a person of understanding draw you out. What is that? That's a wise person. It's a counselor. It's just all over the place. So cool.
Yeah. Well, and one of my new favorite verses is Proverbs 23:25. Bring your parents joy. May she who gave you birth be happy. I sent that to my son.
That's really good. I love that.
Great wisdom in the Bible.
Right. Son, I want to tell you this. It's for your benefit.
Yes, yeah.
Well, anybody that's listened to me very long, they know that the most quoted verse by me is Jeremiah 6:14, which I just think it's fabulous that it's there, where it says, from prophets to priests, they treat the mortal wounds of my people with superficial treatments, and they're not even ashamed of themselves. They don't even blush doing it. And I throw that out to so many people because I see that happening, that thing where you were talking about, just pray. That's all you need to do. I just think of course we need to pray, yes, in everything. But it's such a superficial approach to somebody who maybe is in a relationship where they're being physically harmed. And the number one priority would be get to safety, find some way to make things safe for you and your family.
Yeah, that's why I say that people who are in the psychology counseling world, who really, take the Bible and as the Word of God, we used to get beat up a lot. You remember that back in the old days, Steve, before things got better.
Well, psychoheresy,
and all this.
.com or something.
But my approach was always to take it to the Bible, because I think that the folks that say, well, don't do any counseling, they're not reading their Bible. Because the Bible says you got to have wisdom from people, and there's brokenness, there's things you got to forgive and heal from. So I think that, actually we're reading more of the Bible than that group is. I remember when those crazy days when there were all these debates on the radio. You were involved in that. Yeah. And the anti-counseling people were on the, and my strategy was never to I'm going to defend Freud and Jung and Skinner. I mean, they're great. I like all their stuff, but that was not the playing field I wanted to address them on. I wanted to take them to the Bible. And so they would come in talking about Freud and Jung and Skinner, and I'd say, what do you do about, Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart as a way to protect yourself. That's what boundaries are. And they just said, we don't want to debate these guys anymore. And so God ended up winning because now the church is so different than it was back then.
I'm going to go to Carrie here in a second, but I love this conversation. Some of the people that are very anti-Christian psychology have had some experiences that don't relate to anything about Christian psychology. For instance, they'll hear a psychologist in a courtroom tell somebody, well, this alcoholic isn't responsible for what he did because he was drunk and he's an alcoholic and that's an illness. Well, what a psychologist does who's being paid to help get somebody off of some kind of criminal charge, you can't just, that isn't what happens in a counseling session. That is that's totally different scenario. And I know of one instance where somebody very anti-Christian counseling, they were actually sued. They were in a lawsuit because someone with their superficial methods committed suicide, and the family sued them. And in the courtroom, the other side hired a psychologist to say you guys were stupid to do what you did. So you just never know what's behind all of it.
Well, let me give a challenge to all the counselors that our counseling family, we have so many counselors that listen to the program, is a little challenge would be read your Bible, read systematic theology. I mean, it's easy to, there's this primers on systematic theology, so you kind of know the framework of the Bible, and it won't be so much hunt and peck, because we owe it to our clients to understand the Bible, as well as all the great theories. And
that's why, I love working with you, and I love working with Jill, because you guys went to Bible school and you studied the Bible, as well as, and who has ever been in a counseling session and thought, oh wow, I wish I had read another chapter by Sigmund Freud here? No, but I think we're always thinking, let's see, what is the biblical principle there? And the more we know and we want to communicate it, the better.
Do you know the hunt and peck method, Steve, that people use?
No, what is that?
Okay, it goes like this. The guy wakes up in the morning and says, God, speak to me. So he closes his eyes, puts his finger down in the Bible, and it says Judas went and hanged himself. And he thought, that's not what I want to do. So he closes his eyes again, puts down another page. It says, go thou and do likewise. And he goes, I'm kind of in trouble here. Third time's a charm. Puts it down. It says, make haste and do not tarry. That's not the kind of the way you ought to approach this thing. It's not random hunt and peck.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Let's go to Carrie. She's calling us from Dallas, Texas. Listens on KWRD. And you are on with Dr. John Townsend, Dr. Jill Hubbard, and Steve Arterburn. Thanks for joining us, Carrie. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
I have a question. I'm not really sure, and so I'm seeking your panel's help.
Okay.
I have a 32-year-old son, and he revealed to me recently that he was sexually assaulted.
Oh, gosh.
How's the best way I can help him?
Well, when did this happen?
Within the last probably 4 to 5 months, from what I understand.
And was this male or female that sexually assaulted him?
He didn't go into details, just that it occurred.
Okay. Well, let's start with you, John. When you hear something like this, what do you think is the best path?
Well, I would first and foremost, I'm sure you're compassionate. He needs compassion right now because it's a kind of a crime against the body. But I would just say go get a what's called an intake session with a psychologist in the area and say, here's what happened, because it's not the assault itself, Carrie. It's the assault and then the fruit of it. Is he depressed? Is he starting to drink a lot? Is he having anxious thoughts? Or whatever. Some people can be assaulted and not need help because they're in like a very growing community and they do a lot of processing anyway. But it never hurts to say, I want a one-time diagnostic session to see if what happened to me is going to affect my ability to do three things. One's to feel good inside. The second is to relate better, and the third is to work okay. So just to get him a good referral, and there's a ton of people in Dallas that are very good.
And I think it's a really good sign that he told you. He trusts you, obviously. That was very brave of him, right? Even if he didn't go into detail. And so it's an invitation for you to then offer maybe some suggestions, as John is saying.
I hope that's helpful to you. And
yes, it is.
okay. Well, I'm gonna I'll send you this little book, Growth Has No Boundaries by John, and I'm also gonna send you Take Your Life Back, because it can help somebody who has been a victim of something to be sure that it's a one-time thing. You don't drag the hurt, pain through life. But I think telling him, hey, I really think just sit down with a good counselor, PhD psychologist. Tell them what happened. Let's see what they say. Be a good advice.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. Steve Arterburn here, Dr. John Townsend, Dr. Jill Hubbard, and I want to go back to our caller here in just a second. But Larry Sonnenberg's in the studio, so we're going to go with Larry. How you doing, Larry? And what do you have for us today?
Steve, it's Every Man's Battle this Saturday, and I want to encourage folks to both help us to continue to do these workshops all the time and encourage guys to get there and encourage wives to help their husbands to get there. Here's what Jeff said at a recent workshop. I've gone through a few low points in my life because of my sexual sin. Each time this happens, my heart breaks and I figure out a plan on my own to deal with it and change. Every plan I've developed has eventually failed because I developed it on my own, and it led to isolation. Now, after my worst low point came 6 weeks ago, Every Man's Battle has just given me game-changing knowledge to go along with my heart to change. Never in my life have I felt more confident in conquering this sin because for the first time in my life, I'm genuinely connected with others who struggle with the same thing I do and want to change. It's time to go back into battle, and this time I'm not going to get my butt kicked because I know it myself and I know the enemy. Game on.
There you go.
So it's kind of inspiring.
Yeah.
Really
I just love it that he's connected.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and here's the thing. Somebody either gave him a scholarship or indirectly you supported New Life, and indirectly you are responsible for that person getting that kind of help. And that's why we ask people to support us, so we can reach folks like this, more folks like this, and give them the kind of help that Every Man's Battle does. I had a guy tell me just the other day, and it was nice that it was in front of my son. He said, I would not be in ministry today if it wasn't for Every Man's Battle. And you can go from feeling like you're the worst person in the world to realizing, hey, God's got a plan for you, and you need to get with the plan, and it's not too late, no matter what. So,
Steve, also, if you make a gift today, it will be matched. We have a $5,000 match going here. And if somebody joins Club New Life, their first gift to Club New Life will be matched.
Okay, that's awesome.
And Club New Life has been a lifesaver during this COVID crisis to New Life. So, folks, we could use some more support like that. And I want to thank everybody who has been supporting it. We couldn't keep doing what we're doing without your financial help. And so God bless you all for doing that.
Well, our general fund giving, like so many places, it's down a little bit, but we've had blessings in other areas. So if you can help us in any way possible, please do by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That is the number, 1-800-NEWLIFE. Really appreciate that, Larry. I want to go back to Carrie, and John, you let's just start with you. You brought up a really, really great point there with Carrie and the situation.
Well, the point that I really liked was actually Jill's, because she was talking about the trust that her son must feel toward her. And I started thinking about, Carrie, what's it been like for you? A parent of an adult is in a helpless position, because you can't protect that person. You can't go out and you can't go find the bad guy, and you can't go into the traffic and stop it for him. And so I was just kind of concerned about how Carrie's doing. I think your son's going to be fine, but I'm concerned about how Carrie's doing with all this, because that's a big deal to know that an adult son has been hurt, and you've kind of got your hands tied.
It is, and we never, John, stop being a mother or a parent, right?
Yeah,
it's just our role changes.
Yeah. What's it been like for you?
When I was first notified, when he first told me, my heart sank like a rock. And all I could do was pray that God would help him heal. But I do know he's getting counseling. He's in a different state from me. And so
he was already in counseling before this, or he was going to counseling because of this?
I don't know. I know that he started getting counseling recently, and I'm wondering if that is as a result of what happened. He didn't reveal that to me, because for a while there he just shut me up and wouldn't talk to me at all.
What was that about?
I don't know.
Well, sometimes
has that happened all the way through his life with you? I mean, has he just done that all his life with you, or is it recently?
Or is it in the last 4 to 5 months since his attack?
Within the last 4 to 5 months.
Okay. So he had a lot of shame, and probably evidence of his growth is that he was able to share with you.
Let me just ask this. Could it be also, sometimes when somebody, and we applaud you for the relationship where he would be open with you, but sometimes something like this happens, and then when he sees you, you say, hey, how are you doing? Well, you might just be wanting to know, how is he doing? But he interprets that you want him to talk about the trauma and what's happened and all of that. And so it's important that, if you can talk with him, that you don't say things where he might interpret, every time you're with me, we're going to go deeply into this. And that could be a reason. Does any of that ring true, perhaps, or not?
It could very well be that case. And so when I spoke to him, I felt like I was tap dancing.
Yeah, right.
Trying to kind of tap dance around the subject, other than I did tell them that I believe you. And it took a lot of courage to share that with
Let me add something to that before we go. Let me add one more piece to that. Ask him, what can I do What's my role? You ask him what he needs, and he'll say, just listen to me or give me some advice, but ask him. Put the ball in his court.
We'll be back right after this.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop will be held online Saturday, October 24th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship, and then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of 7 books, including Growth Has No Boundaries by Drs. John Townsend and Henry Cloud, Take Your Life Back by Steve Arterburn and Dr. Dave Stoop, and the Emotional Freedom Workbook. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, Dr. John Townsend, Dr. Jill Hubbard, and Carrie, thank you for calling us. And there's another book I want you to have. It's Healing is a Choice. Hope that'll be great. And just wondered, do you have any other question before we say goodbye?
Well, being that he is going to counseling, and I need to basically meet him where he is and basically ask him what it is that I can do to help him, what's the best way to broach that subject with him? Let me
check in on that. You mentioned earlier, it kind of caught my ear, Carrie. You said I'm always. He says I'm walking on eggshells, and that's an eggshell question of what to broach it. Like I'm kind of a simple guy person. I would just say next time you talk to him, by the way, let me know if I'm okay asking about your counseling or not. Now, but is there some trepidation about that for you, about the eggshells?
The relationship since he's moved has been very delicate, best way to put it.
How long ago did he move?
I'm sorry?
How long ago did he move?
In the middle of the pandemic lockdown.
So he moved around the same time the assault happened? Because
I'm thinking the assault happened shortly after he arrived in the new state that he's in.
And the move was not something why was there conflict about the move?
His company moved him.
Right.
I felt uncomfortable about it.
It scared you for health reasons?
I mentioned I was uncomfortable about it.
You mean for health reasons?
Yes, that was one of the big things was health reasons.
Okay.
Yes.
And he did not agree with you?
Well, he had already set up for the transfer to occur, but it just so happened that it occurred when the lockdown happened.
So mom says I'm not comfortable with it, and so that's a big rift between you two guys?
Well, He said, I'm going to transfer. The thing was, he went to this state. We don't have any family there. He has one friend that he moved with because they were coworkers. So they moved up there where he's at. And so shortly after he moved up there, he stopped communicating with me. So now when I hear from him, it's very, very rare.
Okay, so some of it may be proximity, right? Kind of he's in a new place. Right. Yeah, he's not near you. He's not reaching out to you as much. He's getting acclimated to his new place. But shortly after he moved was the assault. So I think those things go hand in hand. You may have been drawing different meaning from it.
Yeah.
But it sounds like maybe he kind of shut down.
Yeah. Here's the thought. I really agree. I really agree with Jill here, Carrie. Here's the best thing. Avoid speculative hypotheses when you don't know. Avoid speculative hypotheses. In other words, we could sit here and talk all day about, well, maybe he saw little green men on Mars. Who knows? So here's what I would do. Next phone call, you say, so glad we're talking. By the way, can you help me understand why the frequency of your reaching out has gone so far down? Have I done something to alienate you in some way? Just jump in the pool.
Right. Don't treat him like he's fragile.
Yeah.
But see, I think you might become fragile out of fear that somehow he's pushing you away.
And we don't know anything. Maybe he's busy.
And so trust the history of the relationship.
There you go. Just say,
right.
Hey, you used to talk once a week. Now we talk once every month. So help me understand. Have I done something? And then you'll kind of get some reality. And then you don't worry about these stupid eggshells that we worry about too much.
One comment, and it is this, that, and I'll send you these materials. But when a guy goes to another state, a young man, it wouldn't be so abnormal that he'd really want to establish himself and be independent, and he wouldn't be calling mom all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, he might think, I'm just going to kind of be on my own here a little bit. And so I don't, like you say, John, don't speculate on the hypothesis.
That could, instead of alienation, that could be autonomy, and autonomy's good.
Yeah. Listening on WRTN is Vi. Vi, how are you today? What's going on?
It's WRGN.
Oh my goodness!
We radiate good news.
You know what?
Thank you,
Vi. We will immediately reprimand the call screener for typing in that. Oh, that's horrific.
You set us straight. We love that.
Thank you. And thanks for caring.
I love you guys too.
Well, it's a great station, and thanks for sharing and caring enough that you would just confront us with our biggest mistake of the day. Now, how could we help today, Vi? What's going on in your life?
Look at it this way. Don't let it happen again.
Okay, we will do our best. Yeah. Okay, how could we help today?
Wake up! You're on the radio.
So, Vi, are you calling us because you have a hard time confronting people and challenging them?
Yeah.
No way, no way.
Oh. I wanted you to come out of your shell a little bit, Vi. I'm just kind of concerned.
Yeah, get with it. Come on.
Hey, you'd do good if I was on your team. Let's put it that way.
Well, so self-confidence isn't going to be the topic.
We thought you were on our team.
Yeah.
All right, Vi, let's get to it. What's your question?
All right, let's get to it. I heard a lady by the name of Beth. Not on your show today. I was earlier in the week. Anyway, she had said about her son had died, and then her husband. And she felt like a panic attack.
Yeah.
And I was just calling to make a comment to try to relieve some of her panic, because I've been there and done that. I mean, my daughter's been dead 10 years.
Oh, gosh.
But she died 10 years ago, and 2 years later, my husband died.
Oh.
So I am alone, and I live alone, and I'm going to be 84 years old, and I'm legally blind. But I wanted to say to her, take it in your stride, the grief. Work it out. Talk about your loved ones that have passed. That's the way of getting it out from your insides so that you don't have panic attacks. I mean, there's times I would sit at my kitchen table and sob. But the only thing that keeps you going is the belief in Jesus Christ. He was raised from the dead. And we have learned and we believe that believing in him, you will see your loved ones again. And that's what kept me going. Because I know where my family is. I know where my daughter is. And I know where my husband is.
Yes.
I just wanted to give her some advice since I've been
well
there.
said.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I think that'll be an encouragement to everybody. And you have been there. You've gotten through it. And so you've got some credibility there. I'd like to send you a copy of Jill's book, The Secrets Women Keep. I think that'll be a blessing to you. And thanks for caring enough about our audience to want to share that. And thanks for confronting us about our little mistake there. All right, let's go to John from Arlington, listening on KWRD. John, how are you today? What's going on?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're good.
Doing okay, yeah.
Good. Sorry, I was thought I could make it back up the hill before I got on the deal. So I was listening on the other day about, PTSD in the brain.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if that was a proper topic for today.
You can talk about it. You can ask about it.
Oh, we're not topic-based. It's whatever the need is and the interest, so go for it.
Okay, so I'm 52, and I was abandoned at 9. Excuse me, a little out of breath. And then I was adopted at that same year. So fast forward to 3 marriages. And, sorry, I'm so out of breath. Yeah, 3 marriages, and then...
hey, that music indicates that we're going to go to a break. So you can catch your breath, and that'll be perfect. And we'll get to you when we come right back. But you're listening to New Life Live, and we're with Dr. Jill Hubbard. She's author of Forgiving Our Fathers and Mothers, great book there. Dr. John Townsend, the author of many, many great and wonderful books. Leadership Beyond Reason is one that some of you might want to look at. He's going to join us December 5th for Brains, Boundaries, Battles, and the Bible. But you can find out about the Townsend Institute and by going to johntownsend.com. Just go there and you'll find out about it. We'll take a break. We'll come right back for more of New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000 is the number.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
I believed that I could do it on my own. I just believed if I tried hard enough and pulled myself up hard enough by my bootstraps, I could do it. It was a battle that I'd had all my life. I had to get help.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, October 10th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
The single most helpful thing was to realize that I wasn't the weirdest guy on the planet.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly.
And it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. We're talking with John, and John Townsend is with us, Dr. Jill Hubbard. John, a quick question for you. When you say you were abandoned, what does that mean? What happened?
Well, I was with my birth mom. She said I was going to go meet my brother and sister, which I didn't know they existed, and I was sent on a plane and never to return.
Oh, goodness. That's just so brutal.
Okay, so what do you know about what happened with her after she did that? Anything? Do you know where she is?
Yes, sir. So I tried a relationship with her, but she lives in West Virginia, and she had 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and was married a few times. I think they both died. She was widowed a couple times. And one of her son, which I guess would be my stepbrother, committed suicide for some reason. I haven't ever heard why. But so her father was put in prison for, and this is terrible to say, but for molesting her back then, and she's 80-something. So it must have been pretty bad. So, I heard about that when I was an adult and tried to kind of stay in touch with her, but she just didn't. I didn't have any feeling, I didn't connect.
Mm-hmm.
So it was hard for me to make the effort.
Right. Well, did she ever tell you why she did what she did?
No.
Because
I've asked.
I've got a suspicion that she might have actually been trying to spare you than abandon you.
Sure.
I don't know where her.
That.
And so
it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I'm very close with my stepmother.
Okay, so what she might have, we're just speculating. We talked about not doing that, but she might have been afraid that you would have fallen victim to her father. She might have been in such a horrible place,
right?
Having been traumatized, that you might not have been safe by being taken care.
Well, and it seems like the children that she did keep didn't fare too well.
So I remember
her.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying her father was in prison and died in prison. He was sentenced a long time. Yeah, so and that's hearsay. I don't know that, but that's what I was told. But I think it could have been for the reason you state, just for other reasons. She wasn't able to, or something possibly. I'd like to think anyway.
I just have to tell you, a guy hated his mother for abandoning him, and when he finally met her and asked why, he found out that she was homicidal, and she left the baby with people because she was afraid that in her postpartum depression that she would destroy the baby. So she became the hero to him. Anyway, boy, I've talked a long time here. John, what is the question for us then?
Well, basically, it's about a relationship, and I was listening to that PTSD thing, and I was wondering if that's possible because it seems like I tend to run, before the other person, or I take things personally. Now, I'm high functioning, I have a great job, I think I'm a good man, but it's like I don't know what my problem is, and here I find myself single again at 62, and I am dating, but I listened to that, and I said, is this possible that is it me? So maybe it's me,
It's extremely possible given what you've told us, John. Think about think about how a 9-year-old, because a 9-year-old can think and they can remember very clearly, and think how it had to make you feel. You probably can't even think about it now. It's probably way down there. There's got to be access. But the dynamic of abandonment is this. I can't take chances with people because if I trust you too much, then I'm at risk for the worst thing that ever happened to me again is you'll leave me. So I'm not going to commit. You know, like the movie, the one Runaway Bride, I'm going to be the runaway person. So if you want to get close to me, that's a trigger for me. If you want me to be taking risk with you, that's a trigger for me. The abandonment keeps us at all costs being safe, even if it means leaving somebody before they leave us. I'd say it's very, very possible.
Right. Well, it's like when I remember it, I wrote a paper on it, psychology. It was like somebody, when I was 9, this is what I felt like. It was like somebody poured a bucket of grief over my head. You know, it just washed over me. You know, and I still remember how hard I cried and all that. You know, it was just weird that I remember that. You know, I remember the day and everything, and so, but I'm like, look, that was then, this is now.
Think about the metaphor of the grease, though. The grease is a metaphor your brain's saying is that I'm slipping away. I'm slipping away. They're slipping away from me. I can't hold on to anybody.
And here's the question I'm curious about. Why haven't you ever sat down with said, here is something that happened. I need to kind of explore what that means in my life?
I guess, you know, because I don't know. I thought that was then, this is now. You know, and it's like I've been raised to move forward and conquer, you know, I guess. I don't know. That's a good question.
And that, you know, may have served you well in some areas, John, but not emotionally, right? Because the past keeps rising up in the present with each relationship, intimate relationship you get into and then you run from. So the past is very much alive.
I want that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's time, John, to do some work. You know,
John,
dating and finding another woman is not the right solution for you right now.
No. I'm just glad you're curious about it, and I want you to hold on. I want to let us find a great counselor for you and just explore that a little bit. John, what do you think would be a great book for him that might really help him develop some insight here into this?
Hiding from Love.
Okay, Hiding from Love. Perfect. Glad I asked you. Absolutely. I'm going to get that to you. And anybody else, you could get it at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I don't know. I feel really, really hopeful for him.
I do too.
Yeah. I'm glad that he called. Glad that everybody that calls us called, because you've got this one thing you got to have. You got to start with some curiosity. But then once you find out what it is and what can be done, then you've got to shift over from curiosity to willingness. Willing to do whatever it takes, and that can be really, really tough.
I'll tell you why I feel hopeful. It might be why you guys do too. Is that John's interest is on what is it about me, not on all the bad people out there. When you start off with what is it about me, you'll get somewhere. When you start off with look at how bad people are, you stay helpless. So way to go. We think you're going to do really well, John.
Final comment there, and when I said she might have been trying to help you, he was really open.
Really open.
Yes.
You know, he didn't like, oh no, you know. So that's wonderful. All right, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you need some help or you could help us, we've got our Every Man's Battle Saturday, and you can stay right at your house or go to a hotel where it's confidential or whatever you want to do. But it will change the course of your life if you'll just trust us and join us and let us give you some help, and you can find out about that at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's the phone number to call. We would love to help you. We're going to do another program, so you guys hold on here. We'd love for you to join us on that program. And let me just say this. It's always great to be with you, John. Jill, you know I love doing radio with you. And thanks to all of you that support this ministry so that we can do this. Try to provide some biblically based, theologically sound answers to problems that are driving us all crazy. We're all in this together. You have a great day. You call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We really do want to help you in any way that we can. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for watching New Life Live on our New Life YouTube channel. You know, you can see it anytime. Hope you'll subscribe, and when you do, hope you'll turn that little button thing on, the bell, so that whenever we post a new video, it'll ring right through. Now, if you go to newlife.com, you'll see the schedule of when we're in the studio, which is helpful to know if you have a question for the program, or you could go to newlife.com or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You could do this on the app. I mean, there's so many ways that you can stay in touch with us and know when we're there, because we want to answer your questions. So thanks for watching right here on the New Life YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Click here to subscribe.